Now we're moving into the most overpowered category in the entire game in Cold War. Every single weapon in this category is better than any weapon in any other class. All right, and welcome back, guys. It is time for the long-awaited video. You guys are constantly asking me about this. In today's video, we're going to be going over the single best weapon in each and every class in zombies. And then after we go over it, we're going to be giving the class setup that I personally recommend for that. So we're doing the AR, SMG, tac rifle, LMG, sniper rifle, pistol, and shotgun, all those in this video. And I think this is a lot better than a tier list because mainly, honestly, there's a lot of unbalanced tiers in here. So if you're specifically looking to use maybe an LMG, I'm going to show you the best one for that. If you're looking to use a tac rifle, I'm going to show you the best one for that. So yeah, and I guess we're just going to go in order with this list, starting with the assault rifle category. Just like that, we're now loaded into D Machina, and our very first item on the list here in the fist category is the fist. It's the only thing in its own category, so clear choice here for the fist category, gonna be the fist. But with that being said, in all seriousness, for me to set up, get the weapons I need to get this footage, I gotta go ahead, open up the map, get Pack-a-Punch, and all that good stuff, because I want to test these on higher rounds. While I'm doing that, if you're new here and want to sub, I would greatly appreciate it. We're gonna have tons of guides like this for Vanguard, and we're trying to hit 175,000 subs before Vanguard, so I gotta give a huge thanks to everyone who's gonna sub, and on top of that, massive appreciation to everyone who's gonna like, comment, and watch this video in its entirety, as it helps me and my channel grow. All right, and here we are on round 40. No surprise for the AR category, the best weapon in class is the FFAR. Actually posted a video about this earlier this week. Out of all the ARs, this has the highest DPS out of any weapon, but until season 5, I didn't really consider this the best AR, simply because the hip fire on it kind of sucked and it was really detrimental to the weapon. But in season 5, it did get an update making the hip fire massively better. And because of the updated hip fire, it's actually super easy to train with. And that high damage per second you get with this weapon, I'm actually not going to pick up the insta-kill because I want to show the damage of the weapon, and we're not going to be able to test that with the insta-kill. And look at the recoil control now. It's a lot easier to control this recoil now compared to what it was last season. And because of that, and the insane damage it does, it is the best in class AR in my opinion. There are a few other ARs that are really good, like the Groza and the FARA. But this is just the top pick for me, just because it's really good at handling now, and it's just, you can't beat this damage. Now for my FFAR class setup in this video, for the optic, we were running the Microflex LED. For the muzzle, I was running the Flash Guard. For the barrel, we were running the Task Force barrel. For the body, we had the SWAT 5mm. For the underbarrel, we're running the Infiltrator grip. For the magazine, it's going to be the bottom one for pretty much this entire video. For the handle, I was running the Speed Tape, and for the stock, I was running the Duster stock. A lot of people criticize this attachment. The slide speed, at least for me, for high rounds, I use slide speed to dodge zombies all the time. So whenever I'm going to a high round, I usually like to have the Duster stock on, just because it allows you to slide a little bit quicker, and it's super good for kind of training and maneuvering around zombies on higher rounds. That's why I use that, and we get a lot of questions on that. You know, we really shouldn't train in medbay, but I'm trying to go into a different room for each clip in this video to mix things up. But for the SMG category, the best in class is hands down the Tech 9. Just once again added this season. Last season, this would have been a different weapon. Same thing with the FFAR. But the Tech 9 with the full auto attachment is probably the single best full auto weapon in zombies right now. There's some burst weapons that beat it. There's, you know, some shotguns and other stuff that beat it. But for a full auto weapon, I don't think anything beats the Tech 9 in terms of pure damage. And this gun just feels so nice in zombies. It's one of those guns that just feels so smooth to use. Look at this recoil control. Look at that. This thing has insane damage and like no recoil. It's pretty much a laser. Oh, we're gonna end up going down here. So yeah, Tech 9 hands down the best choice for SMG. There's only a few weapons that really come close. The OTS 9 is another really good one. PFPSH is pretty good, but Tech 9's my go-to pick for the SMG category. Now for the Tech 9 class setup, for the optic, it's the Microflex. The muzzle is the full auto repeater. The barrel is the Task Force barrel. Body is the SWAT 5mm. Underbarrel is the Patrol grip. The magazine's the bottom one. The handle's the Speed Tape. And once again, for the stock, running the Duster stock. All right, now we're in Weapons Lab, and this honestly might be an even worse place to train than Medbay. This is just a terrible spot to be in. But for the tac rifle category, most of you already knew this, it is going to be the M16. This has been a dominant weapon in Cold War Zombies ever since it's launched. It is one of the better weapons in the entire game. It would even make the top 5 list in my opinion. I know the Carve is another fan favorite weapon. A lot of people also like the other burst rifle in the game, the Carve. But the Carve just doesn't do the same damage the M16 does. The M16 does quite a bit more damage than it, and the Carve definitely suffers against killing armored zombies, which the M16 does a little bit, but nowhere near as bad as that. So for me, tac rifle category, gotta go to the M16. Been a very strong contender in the entire life cycle, and it's the best burst weapon. This might be the best non-shotgun, melee weapon in the game. Is going to be the M16, and that's going to be our obvious pick for the tac rifle category. Also, one other thing to note about the M16, it has really good hip fire and it's really good at range. So a lot of times what people will do is they'll hip fire the weapon up close and then they'll put like a ×3 scope on for outbreak for like farther range engagements. That way you can be more accurate at range, kind of best in both worlds. And this is one of the few weapons, really tac rifles are the only thing you can do that with. Now for the M16 class setup, for the optic, we're running the millistop. The muzzle is the flash guard. The barrel, which is by far the most important attachment on the M16, you definitely want to be running the strike team barrel. Gives you extra damage and fire rate. This in combination is what makes it so powerful. I see a lot of people running the task force, and yeah, it does give you plus 14% damage and, you know, bullet velocity and effective damage range. But that extra fire rate from the strike team is super helpful, so you definitely want to be running that. The body is the SWAT 5mm, the underbarrel is the infiltrator grip, the magazine's the bottom one, handle the speed tape, and the stock is the duster stock. And next, we're probably moving into my least most used, like, actual bullet weapon category in Cold War, that being the LMGs. Honestly, until we got the MG82, the LMGs were very underpowered. The Stoner was kind of good at launch, but the Stoner really doesn't do that much damage. This is the only LMG in the LMG category that can even compete with the SMGs and ARs. It's not as good as like the top dogs in the LMG and AR category and, you know, the M16, but it does really well for itself, and it's good. It's actually good. It's the only LMG that actually does enough damage to be usable on round 55 consecutively. The Stoner being the second best. The Stoner's good, but this AR does so much more damage, it's not even funny, and I'm glad they added it. The only issue with this weapon being the low magazine count, but now that mule kick's in the game and you drop ammo consistently, it's really not that bad and a super good usable weapon. Now for the MG82 class setup, for the optic, we're running the millistop. For the muzzle, we're running the flash guard. The barrel, and this is by far the most important one. I see a lot of people using the task force barrel on this. You definitely want to be using the division barrel. It gives you the plus 10% damage, is the same thing it gives you for the task force barrel, but with the task force barrel, you get a bunch of negative effects to your ammo. This, it doesn't do that, and it gives you a plus 35% shooting moving speed, which is going to help you so much when training. And this weapon already has ammo issues. You definitely don't want to be doing anything negative to the ammo. For the body, we've got the SWAT 5mm. The underbarrel is the infiltrator grip. The magazine, once again, the bottom one, handles the speed tape, and the stock is the duster stock. All right, now here we are loaded into Outbreak. I just went up to around like 60 something in D Machina, trying to get the Swiss, was never able to get out of the box. So they went to Firebase C. Once again, went up to like round 50, finally got the Swiss out of the box, and then once we got out of the box, it proceeded to do the blueprint duplication glitch, so it was no longer packed and it bugged out the weapon. So here we are on Outbreak with the Swiss, and that experience I just described of me trying to get the Swiss is pretty much the experience you're going to have while using the snipers in this game. I'm pretty sure everyone's going to agree the snipers in Cold War Zombies is the weakest weapon class. There really isn't any reason specifically to use these unless you're just looking to use a sniper. That's not to say that, you know, the sniper class is unusable. Cold War Zombies is pretty easy, and honestly, you can still go to round 100 with the sniper rifles, especially with ammo mods, but they're just clearly not as strong as others. But out of all the snipers, the Swiss, in my opinion, is the best one. It technically isn't the quickest killing one. The M82 is the quickest killing sniper in the entire game because it's fire rate, because obviously all the snipers are going to one-shot headshot on health cap, so whatever shoots the quickest is going to be the quickest killing. The Swiss, though, is the second quickest killing, and it's just way easier to handle. The M82, that thing doesn't handle that well at all, and this does a little bit more damage to bosses. Overall, I mean, the sniper class doesn't really have a place in zombies. They really meant to be these boss-killing weapons, but unfortunately, they don't do a ton of damage to bosses. You're way better off using a shotgun or some of the higher damage SMGs, and that's going to kill bosses quicker than what these snipers will. And they just don't kill zombies that quickly. Not having penetration in Cold War Zombies has pretty much killed the sniper rifle class in terms of meta. But you can still use it, and if you are going to use a sniper, I would recommend the Swiss because it is fun, and occasionally I will find myself just using the sniper to screw around with. But not if you're looking for something to use that's going to kill a lot of zombies in a quick manner. Although I do got to give a quick honorable mention to the M82 and the Pellington. Those are the two other snipers that I think are really usable. The M82, a lot of people give crap on, but if you're able to control like the recoil for the Barrett, it's not that bad. And it can kill zombies a lot quicker than any sniper in the game. It's just really hard to handle. But once you get the handling down, I mean, it's still a sniper at the end of the day, but it can do pretty good work for a sniper class. Same thing, Pellington, another fast shooting sniper with decent handling. Just, it's a little bit not as good as the Swiss. The Swiss just reign supreme over it. Now for the class setup on the Swiss, I'm actually not running anything on the optic. If we go back out here, you can see Dark Ether, all the pack-a-punch camos, all that stuff actually covers the scope if you run it default. So that's why I run it default. For the muzzle, we have the flash hider. The barrel is the Tiger Team. The body is the SWAT 5mm. The underbarrel is the Infiltrator grip. The magazine is the bottom one. The handle is the speed tape. And then for the stock, once again, the Duster stock. Now we're moving into the most overpowered category in the entire game in Cold War. Every single weapon in this category is better than any weapon in any other class, that being the pistols. Right now, all 4 akimbo pistols are better than every single, well, I guess crap, the marshals exist now, and I wouldn't say that about the marshals, but pretend the marshals don't exist. For these purposes, for what I just said, pretend the marshals don't exist, but every single pistol, the akimbo M1911s, the akimbo magnums, the akimbo Damatis, and the akimbo amps, every single one of those are better than every weapon in the game. M16 doesn't matter, all of them do better than that. The amount of damage you get with the akimbo pistols is just completely unmatched, and it's just ridiculous. The akimbo Damatis right now are the single best weapon in the game, even though I guess it's 2 of them. The single best weapons in the game. These things shred, and not even the M16 or the shotguns can even compete with these on damage. These things absolutely fry enemies, especially when you get a high rounds, and they're definitely something that I keep seeing myself use. Akimbo amps are another good. They're kind of the second best in category. The akimbo amps are a little bit easier to use just because they're full auto and make it easier for training. But if you're looking to absolutely maximize in damage in Cold War, the akimbo Damatis are what you want to be using. Now for the class setup on the Damatis, for the muzzle, we have the Flashguard 9. The barrel is the Task Force. The body is the SWAT 5mm. Magazine, the bottom one, and then for the stock, we're running dual wield, obviously, to get that double damage. Now moving on to the fan favorite class, the shotgun class, and this one is a really hard one. Unlike all the other classes prior to this, where there was kind of a clear cut and dry winner, like every other class, there was just one weapon that straight up performed better than everything else. This class, depending on what you're doing, kind of works differently. All 3 shotguns in the game currently kind of have a purpose. I'm personally with this one, I'm gonna go with the Hauer, just because if you're high rounding, this is the best shotgun. This will one-hit zombies any round, doesn't matter. If you're headshotting zombies with one hit, where the Gallo and the Street Sweeper isn't gonna do that. So if you're high rounding, the Hauer is gonna be my pick. But depending on what you're doing, like the Gallo is better for low rounds. If you're doing Easter eggs and low round stuff, the Gallo is going to one-shot on lower rounds, and the Hauer only becomes better than the Gallo once the Hauer starts two-shotting. And I guess for bosses and stuff, the Gallo is a little bit better at that. The Street Sweeper is kind of a wild card. If you're running Ring of Fire and doing a strategy where you can keep getting the Ring of Fire consistently, or potentially using the Street Sweeper as like a backup weapon and you're not reloading it too often, it becomes insanely good. The Street Sweeper is a super powerful weapon, but it's really messed up by that long reload time. But there's a lot of things you can do to nulligate that. So depending on what strat you're doing, the shotgun class varies so much, but I'm gonna have to give it to the Hauer because one, in Outbreak, this thing is a complete monster, and for high rounding on round based, it's really good, and it will one-shot indefinitely. So that's it, boys. Now for the Hauer shotgun class setup, and this one's pretty different depending on what you're doing. I see a lot of different personal class setups for this. This is the one that I rock. For the muzzle, I'm running the Infantry V Choke. For the barrel, running the Task Force barrel. The body is the SWAT 5mm. The magazine's the bottom one, and for the stock, we're running the Duster pad. So yeah, for this next category, we're gonna have to probably train in the single best area in the game, because if we try doing one of the smaller rooms with the RPG, we're gonna end up downing ourselves for sure. I'm probably gonna end up downing myself with it in this area. So for the rocket launcher category, I mean, there's only two options. There's the Sigma and the RPG, and I just prefer the RPG. I mean, they're both not that great for high rounding. As you can see here, round 47, and yeah, we killed that horde, but so did everything else that we're using in this video. I don't know, ever since we've got ammo mods like Shatter Blast and Turned and stuff like that, high damage weapons like RPGs and Sigmas, things that can kill an entire horde quickly, really don't matter that much, because we can already do this with an ammo mod, and you're not going to be able to kill a zombie in front of you with this, especially without PhD. Maybe if we get PhD for the final map, it'll make this a little bit better. But for the rocket launcher category, I'm going to go with the RPG because, you know, it's the best of what we are given the offer. The Sigma's, and I've got, oh god, I don't even want to talk about doing DM Ultra for the Sigma and MP. So yeah, RPG for the rocket launcher class. Then for the RPG class setup, we are running the Bunny Charm for extra luck on our RPG. Now moving into the most versatile class in the entire game, and the class containing my personal favorite weapon in the game, that being the E-Tool. The melee class is super helpful, and honestly for high rounding might be the most useful class, because a lot of times, let's be honest, if you're going to round 100, you're probably going to be using a wonder weapon. Let's, for demonstration purpose, pretend these Damatis right here are the ray gun, right? Let's say you're using the ray gun at any point in time. If you have a melee weapon, you can just knife using the full potential of that, and it's always going to be a one hit. Once you've maxed it out, regardless of what round you're on, if you knife with a melee weapon in your back pocket, you're going to kill that zombie in front of you, which is super helpful for like high rounding. So if, you know, if there's one single zombie in your way when you're going to buy a perk and you're reloading, that can get you down. But on top of that, you can also use ammo mods. So we have Shatter Blast. This allows you to use ammo mods on your wonder weapons, which unless you're using elemental pop, you're not really going to be using it. And you can kill entire hordes while you're reloading your ray gun or whatever wonder weapon you have by just knifing. And you can use it with any weapon. As you see, I'm using it with the Kimbo Damatis. So the entire melee class is really good as kind of like a secondary class to use while you're high rounding. Most of the time when I'm going to round 100 and higher rounds, I always have a melee weapon on me just because the versatility you get. So in some ways, the E-Tool is pretty much the best weapon in the game because it's the only weapon you can use while using wonder weapons. And what sets the E-Tool apart, with the E-Tool, you run faster than any other melee weapon. It knifes quicker. It knifes a lot quicker. It knifes almost double the speed of the default knife in the game, and it knifes faster than a melee weapon. And on top of that, because the additional speed you get while running, it actually has the most range. So pretty much every statistic is stacked up on the E-Tool. It does everything better than every other melee weapon. Lets you run faster, more range, knifes quicker, and it has no lunge, which is definitely a benefit when you're playing zombies. So that is the E-Tool class, and that is why I rate the E-Tool the best in the melee division. And now for our E-Tool class setup for the charm, we are running the Entrenching Tool charm because 2 shovels are better than 1. And now last but not least, we have the special category, and here we are on Mauer der Toten, mainly because we've played everything else, so why not this map now? And I had to restart the game to be able to get this, and this is a really hard category to judge because there's 4 items and each one does different things. Obviously the Thumper, we're just going to rule that out because it's a rocket launcher, and let's be honest, the M79 is not that great. Then we have the nail gun, which the nail gun's worse than any SMG in the game. It's a worse SMG in zombies. There's really no reason to use the nail gun in zombies, leaving us with the ballistic knife and the crossbow. And the crossbow, when it first came out, I really liked it, but it kind of fell off. It does have infinite penetration because it is a projectile, but even given that, it just doesn't have anything special about it. It's pretty good at killing bosses, and if you rock it in a ring of fire, it does a ton of stuff. And it used to be really good at killing Orda, but they've since nerfed that, and I don't know. Honestly, I'd rather just use a high damage weapon over that, leaving us with the ballistic knife. The ballistic knife is pretty similar to the crossbow. It does a little bit less damage in Ring of Fire, and it doesn't really do as much, but you can knife with it, so you can do, infinite ammo with it. But the main redeeming factor is that you can revive teammates when you shoot it, so it's really used as kind of a special device. And that, to be honest, is the only reason I'm going to give the win in the special category to the ballistic knife, because if I'm going to use a special weapon, it's going to be the ballistic knife. I'm going to be playing with friends. I'm going to want to revive them at range, having fun doing something with that. We're at this current state in this game's life cycle, I just don't really see a reason to use the crossbow anymore, and I probably won't use it. Same thing, the nail gun, the Thumper, unless I'm doing some weird challenge. That's never going to be used, but I could see myself using the ballistic knife for a teammate reviver, so that is why it's going to win the category. So yeah, that is our full ranking list right now for every single weapon class in Cold War right now. And if any of these change, I might make an update for this video. Obviously, we've got one more season left to go, so anything can get buffed, anything can get nerfed. Hopefully the Akimbo Marshals get a pretty big buff track if you're listening. The Akimbo Marshals, give them an extra bullet, let them have more ammo, maybe give them a little bit more damage, because I'd love to see the Akimbo Marshals be a really good contender in the pistol category. But as it stands, the Akimbo Marshals I would put at the bottom of the pistol category, which the pistol category is otherwise really strong in that regard. And they could add new weapons. Who knows, maybe next season we get a brand new shotgun. It's like, the Hauer, but fully auto, and is just completely insane. So we still have time for this to change, and if it changes, I'll probably do an update in this series. But with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Definitely let me know how you feel about my list here. Is there anything you would change around? Do you agree with me for the most part? I do plan on doing something else similar to this. Maybe we'll break down each class individually, because one thing I've got people ask me a lot is, what weapon should I get Dark Aether? What are the best weapons in this class? Because now that you can do DLC weapons instead, a lot of times the base weapons aren't the best. So we're going to do an updated probably thing where we go through all the ARs, the ones that I recommend going and getting Dark Aether with, what attachments I recommend on using every weapon in that class, and do like a ranking list for that. If that's something you want to see, definitely let me know in the comments below. And what category do you want me to start with? Do you want me to do the AR category first? Maybe the SMG, the snipers? And on top of that, I'm planning on doing the top 5 worst weapons in Cold War, and maybe we'll do the worst weapon in each class in Cold War as well. I think that could be pretty interesting. And obviously, we're going to continue this on into Vanguard. I really like doing this, testing stuff out, getting the numbers. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this one. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end here. And once again, if you left a like or comment on this video, I appreciate that so much because it really does help out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Real quick here at the end of the video, I want to thank everyone who's became a YouTube sub or a Twitch subscriber, and extra special thanks to everyone who became an Unlock Plus Plus member on YouTube. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, Cryptic. We've got Hunter Reed Don Doe. We've got the man whose name should be really easy to pronounce, Yamasta. We've got the legend Sergeant CJ, the ETOL lawyer you don't cross Hoss, the DMCA claim waiting to happen, Snap, and then we've got Luke.